like, follow, share, like, follow, share. That way, thumbs up. See you on time for the video. Today, I'm going to be doing this live. Yeah, I'm going to be doing this video in English and in Spanish at the same time. Voy a estar haciendo el video en inglés y español a la misma vez. So I'm going to be trying to go back and forth between the two. Voy a tratar de ir entre ambos idiomas and as smoothly as I can. Hi, Mambo Sandy. Hope you're doing well. So, San Miguel. Oh, before I get myself into today's topic, but let me tell you, today's topic is San Miguel Belie Belcan, right? Que vamos a hablar hoy es San Miguel Belie Belcan. Hi, Kay. Buenas. Hello. You cannot hear me. Okay, so if you can't hear me, I'm going to see if I can put this. Can you hear me now? So, I'm getting a bad signal. All right, so today's topic is San Miguel Belie Belcan. And like, follow, share. Voy a tratar. Hello, everyone. Hi, Aida. I'm going to try to do the video in English and in Spanish, but you can see I'm already tripping over the both languages. Voy a tratar de hacer el video en inglés y español, so I don't have to do two videos, para que no tenga que hacer dos videos. And I'm going to try to go through smoothly back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's saying that the connection I have in this spot might not be the best, but we're going to go with it for now. So, as always, if you want to make a donation to the lives and to the videos, you can do so, as many other people already have. Cash App, cash symbol Hector Salva, or help at PayPal. At PayPal, help at mysticalwork.com. Si quieres hacer unos videos a la obra que estamos haciendo, como mucha gente ya han hecho, puede hacerlo por Cash App, Hector Salva, o en PayPal, help at mysticalwork.com. Está ahí en los detalles. So, I'm going to try to be doing the video in English and in Spanish. Today I'm going to be talking about San Miguel Belie Belcan, but we can't be doing calls during lives here. Hoy, el tema de hoy es San Miguel Belie Belcan. I'm going to be giving people a minute here to come here with us. Hi, Jean. Hi, Sean. So, le voy a dar la bienvenida aquí con nosotros. Like, follow, share. Hi. Hi, Marie. Dale me gusta. Comparte el video. I'm going to be doing the live in English and in Spanish, y'all. I'm going to be trying to go back and forth. As best as I can. So, you're going to have to give me a little minute at times. But I'm going to try to give some people some little bit of minutes here as we all come together. Today we're going to talk about San Miguel Belie Belcan. And one of my godmothers was very much a caballo Belie Belcan, was a horse of Belie Belcan, San Miguel. Era caballo de Belie Belcan, San Miguel. So he is a misterio. Él es un misterio that I have had much experience with. Yo he tenido mucha experiencia con ese misterio. So San Miguel Belie Belcan is coming up here on the 29th of September. Él se celebra el 29 de septiembre. Por ahí viene la fiesta de Belie Belcan. And today I want to talk to you guys sobre who is this Belie Belcan, quién es Belie Belcan, and, whatever else comes up. It keeps saying I have poor quality signal here, so I'm not sure if you're getting everything as clearly as it should be going through. But that's what we're doing today. So many people have asked me, am I going to do something for San Miguel? A lot of people have wanted me to do something for San Miguel. So if you want, many people have already gone ahead. It's pausing occasionally. Many people have already sent me donations to go ahead and make offerings to San Miguel. I'm not going to be able to make offerings to San Miguel on his feast day. I'm going to have to make offerings to San Miguel on the 2nd of October. For those of you who don't know, the 2nd of October is also the day of the guardian angels. So, to go ahead and say this in Spanish, mucha gente me han pedido hacer ofrenda y servicio a San Miguel para la fiesta que viene, pero no voy a poder hacerlo el día de la fiesta, voy a tener que hacerlo el 2 de octubre. El 2 de octubre cae el día de los ángeles custodios, de los ángeles de la guardia. So, as such, if you want to make an offering to San Miguel or your guardian angel, I've included in the information in the description of this video where you can go ahead and do so, and we can make that on your behalf. Si usted desea que nosotros te hacemos un servicio a San Miguel o Belie Belcan o a tu ángel de la guardia, la información para hacer un servicio está en los detalles que están con este video. So like I said to everyone who might be coming in a little bit late, I'm doing to make sure I'll be able to get everyone the information, because sometimes I say some things in one video that I don't say in another. And maybe I mean to say them, but it's a lot. So voy a estar haciendo el video en inglés y español para que pueda compartir la información con la gente, porque muchas veces no puedo hacer 2 videos, no tengo tiempo, y quiero hacer toda la misma información para ambos lados. San Miguel Belie Belcan, his colors are red and green. So, San Miguel is a very popular misterio, a very big misterio that has lots of followers and lots of devotees, especially in the DR, right? So he's a lua that a lot of people have interacted with. He's a misterio that a lot of people have had experience with. He's also a lua that a lot of people I have run into that they may be a family lua. En español, San Miguel es un misterio que tiene muchos devotos, ¿ok? Es un lua que muchas veces aparece como un lua familiar. Es un lua que es muy popular y mucha gente lo conocen, han tenido experiencia con Belie, con San Miguel, son servidores de Belie, etcétera, etcétera. So, Belie Belcan is a very powerful loi Belcantoné, okay? Belie Belcan of thunder, okay? Indicates part of his power. When you hear the stories and the information about the loi and the misterios as well as their relationships, so on and so forth. Well, you have to understand that what that is telling you about how the forces mingle and commingle. So some of them are more literal and some of them are not. And they speak about the way that the forces mingle and commingle. San Miguel is a lua that has various puntos, means various manifestations, different points of power. And so he manifests a number of different ways that are, some are more common and some are less common. So, to say this in Spanish, San Miguel es un misterio que tiene muchos puntos, tiene varios puntos, y así él manifiesta de varias maneras. Algunas maneras son más comunes y otras maneras menos comunes. Es un lugar, un misterio, que mucha gente trabaja con ese misterio. Okay? So, Belie Belcan, el color de Belie Belcan son el rojo y el verde. A veces Belie Belcan también se le da el azul, también se da el amarillo y a veces el blanco. Okay? The most popular colors of Belie Belcan are red and green, but we also give him blue at times. He also takes yellow and white. Pero principalmente el rojo y el verde, but principally the red and the green are the colors of San Miguel. On the 29th of September is a day that is also served many places. They serve the Indians. El 29 de septiembre también un día que en muchos lugares celebran a los indios o los seres de agua dulce, los misterios de agua dulce. There's many places that what they serve is agua dulce. And there's a punto of San Miguel, there's a point of San Miguel, hay un punto de San Miguel that works with the water and the Indians. Okay? Hay un punto de San Miguel que trabaja con la agua y los indios. So, San Miguel has various manifestations. That's why sometimes you see San Miguel in the altar with the Indians. A veces se ve San Miguel al lado de los indios en el altar o el bajín. San Miguel is a very, how do I say, approachable misterio, a very powerful misterio. Belie Belcan is a very powerful misterio. Belie Belcan es un misterio muy poderoso. In all around misterio. También es un misterio que él trabaja por muchos diferentes deseos, muchos diferentes trabajos hace él. He does many different types of work. San Miguel is about justice, justicia. San Miguel trabaja justicia. Okay? Es el líder de la justicia, es justiciero. Okay? He's a spirit of justice. He's also a spirit of air and fire. También el espíritu de agua de aire. También San Miguel es un misterio de aire y fuego. And San Miguel, there's various offerings that he takes. And he's a very, helpful, approachable, common misterio that you will probably interact with on the course of your path, during the course of time that you're in this path. where you're walking your journey, you're likely to have with San Miguel. Okay? San Miguel, we mainly give him brugal and cigars, right? A San Miguel se da brugal y tabaco, tubano, right? So we give him brugal, cigars during his feast. Many people like to give him a cake para celebrarlo. Mucha gente le gusta darle un bizcocho. Okay? In his services, okay, he takes goat and red rice and beans. Él toma un moro de habichuela roja y chivo, carne de chivo, right? And San Miguel is very powerful, very well known for reversing evil, witchcraft, negative energy. This is known as revocaciones, revocations. San Miguel es muy conocido por hacer revocaciones. En cuanto alguien revoca, se quita los males, se quita la negatividad que le han enviado o echado y lo manda para atrás. Because San Miguel is such a very big Belie Belcan, is such a big Loa, he's known to work with many of the other Loa. He has ways in which he works with pretty much all the other Loa. Okay? Por causa que San Miguel, que es un misterio tan grande, Belie Belcan, él trabaja con muchos otros misterios, muchos otros lo hacen. Hay muchos otros lo hacen con cual San Miguel tiene enlace, tiene conexiones, trabaja. San Miguel le damos manzana. We give San Miguel apples as well, if you're unaware. Okay? San Miguel takes olive oil lamp. Okay? Una lámpara muy simple que se le puede dar a San Miguel es una lámpara de aceite de oliva. Okay? Muy básica, muy simple. Una lámpara de aceite de oliva. Right? Let me know that everyone can hear me clearly, somebody. And, because sometimes these things, I keep on seeing like it's going in and out, supposedly. So, I want to make sure that I'm not. Mambo Sandy, you want to come on here with me? Because it'll, we can go back and forth on San Miguel. Let me see how to do that. Send me the thing to get on, the request. Yeah, it pauses, isn't that? Let's see. Hop on here with me, Mambo Sandy. Send me the request. All right. Let me see. Okay, it's not skipping any words though. Good. All right, so San Miguel, very popular, very big. is often a misterio. You're not going to have any contradictions, any conflictions with San Miguel, especially if you're in the right and you're in the good and you're, being just and you're being clean in the way that you move, in the way that you do things. San Miguel es un lugar muy poderoso, muy común, Belie Belcan, y es un lugar que tú no vas a tener ningún problema con él si tú estás o tú haces las cosas bien, tú andas a lo derecho, tú haces tus cosas bien, tú no le haces ningún mal a nadie y tú eres una persona limpia, una persona justa, ¿ok? Mucha gente que tiene en San Miguel también le gusta mucho la paz. San Miguel is a spirit that's also known that he likes a lot of peace. Here we go. A lot of peace. San Miguel is a spirit that he likes a lot of peace. Hey, Mambo Sandy.
Hey.
He likes a lot of peace. That's why San Miguel is known to have a space where he connects with Dambala. And a lot of people, when we had our ceremony just in July, we had Agawu showed up. In a minute, in a time there, Agawu showed up. And a lot of people asked me, who was Agawu? And et cetera, et cetera. And Agawu is a different spirit. You got to understand that Agawu is a different spirit. Nosotros teníamos una fiesta en julio espiritual y vino Agawu. Mucha gente me han pedido si eso es San Miguel, pero Agawu es otro misterio. Pero los dos se sincretizan con San Miguel. Both of them are syncretized. I think that's how you say it in English.
You said right? It right, Papa.
We're syncretized with Saint Mike, synchronized or syncretized, right, with Saint Michael.
Right.
So how you going there, Mambo Sandy?
I'm doing fine. I got my red on today for Vodou,
Exactly, exactly. So, what do you want to say anything about San Miguel? Because San Miguel, he's a very popular loi, a very popular misterio.
Yes, it's actually how you corrected me one time. One of your god kids, when I first got on the path with you, I had gave them a reading and I thought for sure it was Chango. And you was like, no. You was like, you close, and they're like the right and left wings of Belie, but it was Saint Michael. But that's how it had manifested to me. But you was like, nope, it's Saint Michael. So they have a lot of similar traits because that's what I picked up on, like the justice and all those things like that. But I didn't know about Belie. I didn't know about Belie. I knew Saint Michael, but not him coming as Belie. I did not know that. So that was the lesson that you taught me, which is why I say, when you're a reader, you really have to have knowledge because you could make a mistake. Lucky it was like that person was already they had got to your care by that time because I sent them to you because I was like, this is as far as I can take you.
Yeah, because a lot of times, because San Miguel has that air and he has that fire, right? And a lot of times, a lot of misterios, a lot of loi, they can be very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And the puntos of that force can almost seem very similar, right? And you can think that it's one misterio when it's really the other. I'm just going to translate a little bit of what we said right there. Ella dice que en un tiempo ella tenía un cliente, pensaba que era una persona de Changó, un hijo de Changó, pero de verdad era hijo de Belie. Y es porque muchas veces hay varios misterios que son difíciles porque tienen muchos puntos. Tienen puntos en fuego y tienen puntos de aire. Y a veces un misterio, tú puedes ver ese misterio y tú puedes confundir ese misterio con otro misterio. Porque muchas veces tú ves misterio, pero ese misterio no dice, mira, pum, yo soy Belie Belcan, o yo soy Anaís a pie. Sometimes you can see the spirits, and it's not like every time the spirits come, they're like, boom, I'm so and so.
Yep.
I'm such and such. This is who exactly I am, right? Because one thing is saints and one thing is misterios,
Yep.
right? And the misterios are spirits, right? And the saints are saints, but the misterios can show up in many different ways. And they
Yes.
can have many different forms and look many different ways.
Yes.
So, was there ever a time that you saw something or something happen with San Miguel that you was like, oh wow, that's something?
Yes. He came, well, for whatever reason, Papa has a tendency to show up in my dream as different spirits, but his appearance is different when he comes in my dream. So it was something I had asked Belie one time about an answer for something. And just like how you kind of see Papa's head floating here now, it was like in the dream, Papa's eyes were like really, really blue. And he was like, Michael. And I'm like, this is not Michael, this is Papa. And they were like, Michael. And his eyes got big, but they were like these big blue eyes. And then later on, I asked you about it. And I was like, Papa, was you traveling around? And you was like, no, why? And I was like, I had a dream about you. But you was like, I said, it was Michael. They kept saying, Michael, what does that mean? And you was like, he was letting you know who it was. He was giving you the information, like the confirmation, like you said yesterday, like the spirits will sometimes give you the okay.
Exactly.
And the other real quick thing is when Belie comes to the party, he never ever speaks to me, but I'm always right there when he drops his cigar, and he'll give me a quick like tap on the back, and he'll give me his cigar. So it's like, even though I don't get any messages from him, very rarely since I've been with Papa, do I get a message from Belie from the horse, like from the caballo. Never. Very rare. He'll just always give me that blessing, and that's enough. Like, there you go.
But let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. You bring up a very good point,
Okay,
right?
Papa.
And if anybody who's watching the video needs me to translate, just let me know, because kind of like I think it's just going to flow a little easier if we just stay in one language, because that's what you speak, right? So
I'm trying to, I'm
you
understanding
don't
Papa
always
can't
have
speak.
to, the Misterio doesn't always have to talk to you to give you a message. When you're at a party or when you're at a ceremony or when you're at your altar, the Misterio doesn't always have to talking. Hey, hello, hi, welcome, welcome. The Misterio doesn't always have to talk to you to give you a message. Sometimes the message is given to you in another way, right? Sometimes the message is given to you in another way, in a way that Misterio is giving you a blessing, or he or she is giving you a message, but it doesn't need to be always like they sit there, they talk to you, or
Mm-hmm.
that they do something direct, right?
Yes.
Sometimes you can come to a party or to a ceremony, and the way that the Misterio gives you the message is through you yourself, okay? Right? Nice to see you. Um, through you yourself, right? Why? Because that misterio, being in that space of that ceremony, okay, opens you up for that force to communicate with you.
Yes.
Or you could dream that misterio after the ceremony,
That has happened. That
okay?
has happened.
Or things can happen to you after that ceremony showing you signs of that misterio in your
Mm-hmm.
life.
Yep. Has happened many a times. Well, I think I told you the good news of some good things that happened recently, very recent. I'm not going to get into detail, but basically I had asked, as Papa say, sometimes the Loa can be like kids a little bit. And I'm like, I've been good. I've been here. I did this, and that. And y'all just seem like y'all ignoring me. We all going to still go through that. But something, as Papa say, when you unravel, it was in the middle of the night. It was actually at 3 o'clock. Something said, get up. The spirit said, get up and do this now. I'm like saying to myself, now? Now. I did it when they said, and I got what I needed. Not once, but twice. And I knew who it was.
Yep, that's how it be, right?
Yep,
Sometimes you gotta do that. So there's another thing that is, here is the thing. You gotta do things at the right time because there's a window of time that
yep.
opens up, that becomes open for you. Sometimes that window of time could be at the oddest time or the inconvenient time,
I
right?
was I was dead sleep, Papa. I
But
was
you got
there.
to do it because that's when the window has gotten opened up for you.
Yes,
Like, follow, share. Listen, y'all, share the video, share the video, share the video. And write some, if you have questions or comments about anything we're talking about, go ahead and comment below so that we can address that too. We like everything to be like a big conversation today, especially if you have anything to do with San Miguel, Belie Belcan. Okay? So share the video, like, whatever, etc. Okay? And we want to see y'all here. We're just like a big old family here spiritually. So here, Kay says, Mama Sandy, so glad Spirit blessed you as you blessed many of us. Go ahead. All right. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Kay. I'm
thank
sure
you.
Mambo Sandy appreciates. So San Miguel is a big spirit. We had this person in our temple, rest in peace, right? That she was a horse of San Miguel, right?
Yes,
One of my godmothers, she was a horse of San Miguel and Candelo, San Miguel and Candelo. San Miguel was big with her. And I did a service to Belie for a friend whose landlord was holding up her money he owed. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. The thing about it is Belie is well rounded like this. He can work many different cases. He came
yes.
through quickly when I asked him to be fair and just. The landlord gave the money back a week later. Belia can work these things really easily, really quickly.
Yes,
He's a very well-rounded Loi. He's a Loi that he can work in many different cases. This is part of the reason why in a lot of families he's a very common family Loi. And it's not uncommon that there'll be people from the island that'll be like, my dad or my grandfather or this one or that one, they serve Belie and they serve Belie and, they had their thing with Belie. And basically now anybody in that family who goes to Belie, they can often end up getting help real easily too.
Papa, that
And
just happened here with me, with my aunt. Actually, my father's side of the family, they're all like pastors and ministers and things like that, right?
mm-hmm,
Well, my aunt was having a hard time. So she said that this water kept appearing in her house, and she was like, where's it? Like, she looked everywhere. She couldn't find out where this water was coming from. So she said that she said a prayer, that it came to her mind for her to say a prayer to St. Michael. Now, mind you, they're Baptists and Methodists. They're not doing all of that. So I'm talking to her and I'm having this conversation. I said, well, what made you talk to St. Michael? And she said a lady came up to her in the store that she didn't know and had a conversation with her and was like, you know, you're protected by Saint Michael. And she said, I thought that was odd because nobody down here in Arkansas, unless you're Catholic, which she's not, she's a Baptist. They don't talk about Saint Michael like that.
That's something that you see at the Catholic Church. It's
But you
very.
know what it was
Mhm.
too, Papa? It was also that message to me to give you an offer for Saint Michael.
Oh, yeah, he was letting you know. He was letting you know. Okay? Because October 2nd, what we're going to do is, for those of you who got to the video late or whatever, share the video, you know, like and all that follow. If we got to the video late, you gotta keep saying these things, right? So
Yeah.
if we got to the video late, we're doing a service to Saint Michael where we're gonna do it, but we're doing it on the day of the guardian angels. So if you want to send a donation to any of those services, we're gonna do them on that day because that's how it falls for us. So, and the information is in the video information below. And St. Michael, though, you worked with St. Michael before, right? Before we even ever met before, too, right?
Yes, I did.
Because St. Michael, he's everywhere.
Yes, I did work with St. Michael, and it was when I was working at Harry's occult shop, and
Okay.
I didn't know any of the other Loa. Well, Chango got me in trouble, but St. Michael, how he came to me was I had started to I was working with Mambo Sonny a lot. And we used to go to this church. I think it's called St. Patrick's. You know St. Patrick's Church, Papa,
Mm-hmm.
that church. So we went in there one day, and once again, I had asked him to help somebody. And I was like, I need a sign that you're gonna help me. And in the pew, right in the pew, was a card. That card was, there was no card to St. Michael anywhere else except for where I sat. Mambo Sunny saw it and I saw it. And she was like, look at that card there for St. Michael. You better get that card. There's a blessing in it. And I got the card, and I still got that card. But basically, that was his way, as Papa say, it's not always verbal. Sometimes it's a sign.
Mm-hmm.
He has left a feather for me before. Like somebody probably say, oh, that's just a bird's feather. No, it was a bird's feather, but at the time that it came when I had once again asked for something. He delivered it, and he was basically letting me know, like, where's my damn apples?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You can serve St. Michael apples. A lot of people ask me, like, here's the thing, okay? When you serve a loi that you don't have, only really you're going to get one or two results. You're going to get one or two results. Okay? Because everything usually falls into one or two categories, okay? You're going to get a pro. The pro result is that law's not even going to pay you no money. Okay? That's often a good result. That means that, like, it just doesn't even respond.
Right,
Okay?
right.
Hi, Renee. Hope you're
Hey,
doing
Renee.
well. Right? Or number two, what's going to happen is, you know, some result you didn't really want to happen. Why? Because when you're working with the spirits, this is also working with like chemicals, right? And sometimes if you mix chemicals up, nothing happens, nothing bad happens. Sometimes you get the wrong chemicals up and it can kind of burn. Now, in the case of Belie Belcan, San Miguel, however, because of who he be, right? He's a spirit that really, for the most part, no matter what, most people can approach him and ask for help, and he's going to help them. And he works with a lot of spiritualists. He works with a lot of people on many realms. Some people work with him as a saint. But for those of us who work with Misterios, it's a bit different because Misterios are not the saints. Okay? We use the saints, but they're not the saints. Yeah, so it's a very different thing. Okay, it's a different force, baby. It's a
Yup.
different force. However, in either way, either fashion, with San Miguel, you can go to him and offer something simple, some flowers, some red and green candles, some cake, a cigar if you have it, smoke it for him, some rum, and he's often going to respond to you, and he's going to help you, and you can work with him in that fashion.
Yep.
Now, like I said, we're going to be doing a ceremony, and we're going to be putting up lights for everybody and a lamp in that ceremony for everybody who participated. The details are in there for San Miguel. But either way, you can put something in your house for him because he's somebody that's not basically, for the most part, there's not going to be too much of
Yeah.
a butting of heads.
Exactly.
Okay? Now, if you already have things that you already have things that you serve, that you need to ask before you just be bringing things in, okay? Because we have a lot of people that come to us, and they come to us and they already have things that they serve or that they've been serving, okay? And what you have to understand about the spirits, when you practice a voodoo, and when I'm going to say a voodoo, I mean, I don't care what you practice.
That's right.
Okay, that means you practice a Santeria, a Palo Mayombe, this, so that. That means, and you've been doing it for a minute. That means you already started serving something. Okay, and you need to kind of like see what you got yourself into if you don't know, and you haven't been oriented because maybe you didn't know that you should be oriented. Okay, I don't blame, right? And this is today, we're just going to go into a randomness of stuff because really that's where I'm at today with this, how I'm doing this live today. And I know just like I randomly came on here, right? So if you don't know, I don't blame nobody that goes into spirit work because a lot of times if you got that calling and you got that calling to do spirit work and stuff, and you don't know where to go, you don't know where to go to learn, you don't know where to go for this or you don't know where to go for that. A lot of times you're going to do things that there's other better, easier, cleaner ways to do them for yourself and et cetera,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
But a lot of times the pressure of that calling is going to make you rush and do things, maybe even before you're ready. And sometimes, you know, unfortunately, these days, there's not a lot of places you can go to where they're going to show you how to deal with your stuff, work with your stuff, or fulfill that calling, et cetera, without there also being some other nonsense.
That happened to me
You,
probably
right?
with before
So,
I found you.
so I'm going to talk to him. You go ahead and talk to him for a minute, Sandy, because I'm going to go look for my charger because it says that I'm running
Okay.
out of a charge here.
Okay. Um, so as Pop was saying that you know, it's not your fault, but you do have to be careful in what you bring in your house. So I'll just give you a real little quick scenario of that. So there was a lady that I worked with long time ago, and she was a devotee of La Santa Muerte. And she decided that she wanted to start working. Like she didn't really have any issue going on with La Santa Muerte. I don't work with La Santa Muerte. She has come to me before, but I always check with Papa and I'm like, hey, this spirit came in my dream. And he was like, no, she just paying you a visit. But anyway, so this lady, she was working with La Santa Muerte. And this was like, I'm gonna say it was about, oh man, very early in my journey. And she was working with this spirit and she brought St. Michael in. And she brought St. Michael into her home. And baby, it did not work out. Like she did not, it was like a clash. and she was wondering why all these different things was happening, why all these different like things started going bad for her, because some spirits are just that way. They don't want you, you know, bringing new spirits in what they concern their house. That's like you have a house, you done took up residence in a house, and then somebody decides that they're gonna bring whoever, somebody just come off the street in your house. You're gonna be like, who are you and why are you here? Okay. Or that's like if you have, you know, your house and you having a good day in your house, and your kids decide to bring some stranger in your house and like, hey, yeah, they spending the night. You're gonna be like, where and how? Or they coming to stay? You're gonna have a bunch of questions, and you're gonna probably have an attitude about it. So it's the same thing, you know, with the spirits. And like how Papa said, like sometimes we're called to this work and we don't find the best ways, and we don't find the best teachers. And I'm always quick to say the mistakes that I made on this journey. And it's the reason why it's so important to have a good mentor. And once you find a mentor, that you hold on. Okay. Because as Papa was saying, there's not a lot of places you can go really understand the realness of this. So Papa, just to catch you up, um, I was talking about how long time ago when I was working at Harry's, a lady had came in and she was a devotee of La Santa Muerte. She was a very strong devotee of her. This was like in Harry's. And she came there because all of a sudden she started having all these issues and problems. Of course, I ended up getting her. And she was like, well, I brought St. Michael in my house and this and that. And I heard the spirit say, that's why she's upset, because the lady just brought St. Michael in there, didn't check with La Santa Muerte, because she had been working with just her. And then she sat him right next to her. And we already know that story. So I'm going to be quiet now, Papa, on that.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me clear?
I can hear you clear.
Okay, because I had to take the headset off in order to put the phone on some charge. Let me see how much. Yeah, when people don't know is that when you work with something like La Santa Muerte, okay, I'll give y'all a little touch, okay?
Little
Really,
taste.
a little taste. When you work with La Santa Muerte, you're supposed to have four, there's four, there's four spirits that you are supposed to have with La Santa Muerte to keep that in check, okay? And believe it or not, San Miguel is one of them. But if you don't have all four, suddenly you came in here to check her, okay? You came in here trying to check her after you done already had her running everything and all over your house, right? With a half a check, not even a quarter, you got a quarter check. When you have Santa Muerte, and Santa Muerte, right, is a spirit that a lot of times if you go to her and you really get yourself devoted to her, she's gonna take notice of you and she's gonna work with you because Santa Muerte is death, okay? And death is connected to everybody, okay? Death is connected to everybody. Like a lot of people don't know, if you go and you really go for real, and you go and you serve baron, okay? That's the spirit of death too. And he gonna come to you. Do you understand? And death has many forms because everything dies. And there's many different ways to die. I think it's like what was the show? 10,000 Ways to Die or something like that, right?
Yep, yep.
So they come. And if you really devote yourself well to the Santa Muerte, she's going to come and she's going to respond to you. And she's one of those spirits that it can become, somewhat easier, let's say, to gain her attention and become a devotee. However, if you don't know what you're doing with the Santa Muerte, sometimes she can get a little bit leaky. Okay? We're going to call it a little leaky leak. Okay? And that can start to leak into other areas of your life and bring desorden, bring disorder, y cruce, and crossings. And if you, let's say you don't know what you have, maybe what you have, maybe you have something else, and maybe that doesn't go with that,
Yep.
you can bring yourself cruce and other problems just because the energy, the force that walks with you, and that doesn't walk together. And so when you work with Santa Muerte, there's 4 other spirits that, like in our work, would be like, hi, Takasha. In our work, would be like centinelas that are placed around to give what we would call in our work border, right? Border to that mystery, to that force,
Oh,
so
Papa,
that it doesn't get to be too much, so it doesn't leak all over the place.
I was telling Papa that she had came to me in a dream, and I had just kind of started working with you. I just got to you, and I was like, Papa, this came in my dream, and you was like, no, Sandy. And I had not petitioned her. And then it was like later on, I found a card of hers on the ground. And I told you about that. I left it there, but sometimes she'll even come after you if she sees something.
Because if basically death has all its forms, right? So if you already have that spirit somewhere else strong, okay, then it can come to you in the other forms too. And it can come to you in the other forms, and you can start to deal with it, but that's going to put more work on you.
You was
right?
like, no.
No, because you're going to put more work on you. And each spirit that you take on, that takes its, what we call its compromiso, right? Its responsibility. You have to atender, you have to attend to those spirits, right? So each spirit that you take on has its own
Yep.
compromiso. One of the compromiso with the Santa Muerte is the way that you serve her and that you work with her. And the other reglas, the regleman, around what is that.
Yep.
Right? And if you're already taking care of things somewhere else, taking on a whole nother thing, it's going to be a whole nother thing. And it's going to be a whole nother thing for you to take care of. That it can get to be a lot. Right? Yep. So this is why, like, in your path, everything that comes to you, you don't have to go and work with it. Because if you go and work with everything that comes to you, especially if you're spiritually developing and you're developing on your path, right? There's many things that are going to come to you that you don't need to work with. Because you're going to have, just like in life, many people that's going to cross your path, be in and out your life, et cetera, et cetera. There's going to be certain people you need to get to know, et cetera, but you might not be very close with them.
Right. Yep.
Right? And so, same thing I'm saying to people here is like, let's say you really need some help, you need Belie, you need some Miguel, you can go ahead, you can reach out. But Belie is one of those spirits that a lot of time it's going to reach out back. It's going to help you for the most part because it's one of these spirits that is just that way. But if you have your stuff already, right? You can't just be going ahead, adding more stuff, tossing more stuff in, tossing more stuff in, tossing more stuff in. When
Mm-hmm.
people come here, and let's say they're already initiated somewhere in something else. You
Right.
come here, you're initiated in Santeria. You come here, you're initiated in Palo. You come here, you're initiated in, the Trinidadian tradition. You come here, you're initiated in Winti. You come here, you're initiated in whatever else, Haitian, Vodou, whatever you're initiated in, okay? Right? If that thing is properly done, okay, what I'm gonna tell you is you need to go check with your thing.
Yep.
You need to go check with your godparent because in some of those traditions you check with your godparent, right? You need to go check in with your godparent or your thing, whatever compromiso, whatever spiritual obligations you have. You need to check with that, and you need to check with that if it's going to be all good in the hood for you to go on and deal with and take on the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because there's times where sometimes you have something because it's meant to take you to a certain point or a certain step where it's supposed to do a certain thing for you.
Yep.
Okay? And sometimes it's time for you to come and maybe receive something that's there to help you in a certain area, but you're supposed to be over there still in your main thing. And there's a times when now it's time to let that thing go and move on to other pastures. And everybody is different, and everybody has to find out where it is they coming from and what point they're at with their things.
That's right.
Right? So if you have initiations and da 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 from other things, you need to go check with whatever it is, whatever the protocol is with those things, okay? Right? Exactly. As somebody said here, they
When I
came
check with
here. You could read it, Sandy, because I can't, because I got
okay,
to see more.
it says, remember Papa, Jean says, remember Papa when I checked with Ifa about Sanse and you said, he said a strong yes to initiation. Then the Misterio told me the same about the Orisha.
Exactly. So do you see when you're supposed to do your thing, you're supposed to do your thing, and you got to check your stuff before you come or you go somewhere else to go receiving some other thing. And when you are with misterios, when you're dealing with misterios and things of that nature, and I don't care if you are dealing with orishas or whatever it is that you're dealing with, you gotta check with those things before you bringing other things into your house.
Also,
And,
Papa, the
and
respect
before you start calling up other things and
things.
yada
Yup.
yada. Okay?
Hmm.
Because that's how things can get messed up for you.
But respect too, Papa, because you mentioned something important as well too. A lot of times people they'll leave one. You taught me this. They'll leave one spiritual house, even this place, but they haven't broken connection with that place, and then they want to go over here. Then they don't tell that godparent, and if that godparent isn't elevated to a degree, they're gonna probably get attitude with that person and the next person that they're going to see, and that happens a lot, but people don't talk about that.
Yeah, when you live in another spiritual house, okay, let me tell you something. And we always about keeping it real, keeping it gangster, okay? There's gonna be times, some people, you're gonna go to a spiritual house if you is severely, severely blessed. And guess what? If this is your case, you might not even be meant to be a spiritual worker because sometimes Sometimes part of dealing with bad spiritual houses is part of your lessons to be a spiritual worker. Okay, but maybe you might still be meant to be a spiritual worker. Maybe you just have to you don't got time to waste. Okay, whatever the case may be, if okay, a lot of people don't end up in the right spiritual house on the first time out, and that's for many reasons. Sometimes it's the misterios. They're giving you pruebas. They're giving you tests. They're giving you trials and tribulation. They're trying to teach you things. You gotta shit. You gotta learn, etc., etc. So a lot of times people don't. If you do end up in the right spiritual house the first time out, or even the third time out, okay, you should be happy and count your stars blessed. Okay, it takes time, and especially if you're not from these backgrounds or these traditions, and even if you are, you could still fall victim to ending up in a not so ideal situation.
Yep.
Okay, and that's because it is what it is, bro. Like, I'm not gonna put it any other way, right? If you
Yep.
find yourself in a spiritual house that is not ideal and you gotta go, there's two ways that you can do this. There's three ways that you can do this, okay? And there's basically good, better, and best, okay? And sometimes it depends on the situation because this is when you're dealing with other people.
Yep.
Okay, so the best would be if you could be real direct and everything's real clean and clear. You could be like, yo, I'm ready. Like, things for me are moving on. My spirits are directing me here or there, and da 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 da. And everyone's like, all right, go merrily on your way, etc. And maybe it's not even for that. Maybe it's you're still going to be a part of that house, but that's not going to be the main thing that you work. That's going to be something that is really maybe for you, and maybe you're meant to mainly do something else.
Right.
Okay, and they're going to be like, all right, do what you got to do, and we're here if you need us, etc., etc. That's like the best. And if you have that situation, count yourself blessed, and that's a very great situation. And usually, if you're going to leave because it's time for you to roll out. There's going to be some type of offering or something that you're going to give to the spirits of that house, etc., 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 so you can roll out. Okay, so it could be clean. The second scenario is situation ain't good like that, can't be done like that. Maybe you're already under attack from the first house. Maybe the first house is fucking you up. Okay? Maybe the first house is messing you up or anything, right? Or maybe there's
Yep.
already problems there.
Mhm.
In that case, what you should do, since there's no clean way of getting out of it, is be clear with whoever it is you're with next and be like, hey, this is what happened, this is behind me, etc. Now, if they're good at what we do, then we're like, yo, this is what's going on with you often. Okay, you don't even know how to say that, we'll tell you. And and that'll be the situation. And you can often give an offering again from a distance at your own space, or have us or have your spiritual worker make an offering for you to those spirits to release you so that everything is clean and clear.
Yep.
Then the worst case scenario is you just gotta be out. Okay? You gotta be like deuces. Okay?
Yep.
And sometimes that happens too, and maybe you don't find the next person that you're gonna be with or whatever else. You don't know what to do, you don't know how to do anything to give any offerings or anything like that. And you're just gonna be out and you're gonna be like deuces. Maybe you've done that already, et cetera, it happens, right? In that case, really tell you what's a real easy thing that you can do just to make it so it's less like, psh, right? And maybe kind of messes you up is basically light a white candle and a glass of water and be like, thank you guys for whatever was done for me, but I have to move on, and so on and so forth, so that at least something could be there to kind of clean that slate, okay?
Mhm.
Because in the spiritual journey, you're gonna go through a lot of shit.
Yes.
Okay, let me
Papa
tell you
stayed in.
something, and I don't got no shame in my game. Is even I, right, who grew up in a lot of the work and grew up in the work and did the work and da 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 da, right? I even went into wrong hands once, and why? Because there's a lot of wrong hands out in the biz. All right, there's more wrong hands than right hands, and it is what it is. And a lot of these people in the beginning, they might come from a good spot, but what happens is there's a lot of people, they get ceremonies, etc., etc. Like I said, there's many reasons. And then sometimes it's even like the pressure of the spirits, hey, do the work for them, start helping people, etc., etc. But the person can't get training, can't find the right training, etc., etc. So they just start doing, etc. And sometimes it's better to do for yourself, you
Than
know.
to do for others.
Uh,
I say it's better to do for yourself than for others
Well,
because
here's what I say, like if you don't really
mm,
know, and you can't get it, it's best to kind of try to stick to just doing it for yourself. But some people, they have the calling that's heavy,
mm-hmm,
and their calling is to help other people,
right.
and they're gonna help other people. They're gonna end up doing it no matter what. In
Yep.
that case, and some people don't even know not to.
True.
Okay, some people think that because they can see some things, do a little things, etc., they know a few things, they should be doing it and doing it to help others. And they don't even know that, that's not the best way of proceeding for many reasons, and mainly for your own self.
Well,
Of your
Papa,
own shit, okay?
that's how
Like
you
your
found
own
me.
stuff, right?
That's how you found me, Papa. Like when I met you, I was doing work, but I didn't like I knew some things, but there was a lot of things that you had to be like, no, Sandy, don't do this. We need to clean you up from that because you helped that person, and then now that person's stuff is on you because you didn't know.
To clean
But
yourself up, and how to clean yourself up and get things in order for yourself.
yep, that's why
Okay.
I be so passionate. People think that I'm being mean, but it's because I've been in that place of that calling is heavy, having, as they say, the gifts, and you helping people, but you're in on that person's stuff, and there's nobody in between blocking you from craziness.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And so that's the way that it is. And, if you are, just because I just want to keep bringing it back a little bit into our topic, if you're
Yes,
dealing with kind of craziness, San Miguel is someone that's good to approach to kind of get things a little calmed down for you, especially if you undergoing or involved with spiritual attacks or psychic attacks, people attacking you or people doing negative energy throwing it your way or anything like that. Or even you have negative spirits on you, you got negative humat majap, as somebody would call it, you got negative forces on you,
mm-hmm.
negative spirits. San
Yep.
Miguel, okay, Belie Belcan is a good spirit to go to and ask him for help. One thing I want to mention this because this is something I think I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this needs to be mentioned. It really do. It really do. Okay, because it's something a lot of people don't know, especially if you're not from this work. And this we gotta say right here, right here. Okay. Let me get some water first.
Papa, I'm about to say you had to take a sip of water. Oh man.
If you go somewhere, if you go to a spiritual worker somewhere, and they help you, and the work works, and you have to pay the spirits. You have to give an offering to the spirits. You can't make that offering yourself. You can't go to another spiritual worker who works with the same spirit to pay the offering at what we would call in Spanish fulano, which is like Joe Schmo, fulano's house. Okay? If you, okay, went somewhere, because people have asked me this before, and I've seen it happen before, and then people wonder why they in the mess. And, you know, the reason it's good for you to know this is so that you don't let yourself get took, too. If you went to Joe's house and Joe's Misterio, Joe's spirit, did a work for you and it gave you a result, and let's say you promised something for that help, or you're going to make an offering to that spirit for the help, whatever the case may be, you have to go back to Joe. Joe did the work for you with San Miguel. It's Joe's San Miguel that has to get paid. You can't, in your altar, make a service to San Miguel to pay the San Miguel of Joe. Because that San Miguel of Joe, that Belie Belcan of Joe, belongs to Joe. It don't belong to nobody else. Because what happens is when a spiritual worker works with a spirit, they get a little piece of that force, which is the same as all the other pieces, and yet individual to them.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
So you can, in your altar, make the service when where you went and got help is over there. You also can go to Mary's altar and make an offering at Mary's altar to San Miguel to pay for the altar at Joe's house, to pay for San Miguel's Joe. You have to go back to Joe. Even if you have a problem with Joe, if Joe is a good caballo de misterio, brujo, whatever, spiritual worker, Joe is not going to deny you giving him the money to make the offering.
Yep.
Now, you give Joe the money to make the offering and he doesn't make it, that's on Joe. You give Joe the money in good faith to make the offering and Joe doesn't make it, that's Joe's problem. Your debt is clear. Okay? But even if you have a problem with Joe, you need to go to Joe to pay. Okay? Because you can't go get, basically, this is not like, you know, franchise or whatever, where you can go get, you can go, no, if you go to that dentist over there, that dentist you need to pay. Okay?
Yep.
It's not a network. Okay? And there's no substituting. You can't go over to Mary's altar and you can't go over to your own altar. Okay? You need to go to Joe's altar. Okay? And Joe's San Miguel or Santa Marta or whatever it is that worked for you. That's who needs to get paid. That's number one. Number two is when you go and you get help, this is something that the old heads, they knew it. Everybody, all the old heads knew it. Okay? If you went and you got help and you went to San Miguel, to Joe's altar and you got help from San Miguel, whether or not you're supposed to make an offering when you get what you want, whether or not Joe told you to, you send something. Okay? You send something, even if it's something for flowers and for a candle and some other things, even if it's 25, 50 bucks, you send something.
Something. Yeah.
Okay? And it was not something that you had to be told. Now, there's times where you go get spiritual work done in this work, that you're going to get the spiritual work done, and they're going to tell you, we're going to tell you, look, you need to pay this much for the spiritual work. But when the spiritual work works, you're going to have to pay for this ceremony or that ceremony to give back to the spirit. And when it works, that's what you got to do.
Yep.
You got to pay for that ceremony, get it done. That's what gives back to the spirit. But there's many times we're going to do spiritual work. We're going to do spiritual work for you, and you pay for the work, and there's no need to give back to the spirit on such a level. Maybe the spirit's not even asking for it. Maybe the Hungan, maybe the Brujo, maybe the Mambo is taking care of things also for you when they're doing that work, giving little services and things. Okay? But you should always basically go back there and make an offering of something to whatever spirit it was that worked for you.
Yep.
Okay? When, at least when I was coming up, whenever you would go somewhere, basically to a brujo's house and stuff like this, okay? At least where I knew, okay? And the thing about it is, I don't blame anyone for not doing these things because you might not know these things.
Right.
If you didn't come up, et cetera, you might not know. But at least where I came up at, the way it was like when you go to a brujo's house, like you bring stuff, right? You bring something for the brujo, you bring some stuff maybe for the house. Do you understand? And that's just the
Yep.
way it is. When I was going around in Haiti and learning and stuff like that, I would bring stuff for the temples, I would bring stuff for the brujo, I would bring stuff, right? And I would bring stuff for, like, sometimes the temple would be full with lots of people. I might bring stuff for lots of people that's there, right? And if not, I might, pass out food, drinks, this and that for lots of people, okay? Because that's the way that things are done,
Yep.
right? And you bring stuff, and you go there, you bring et cetera, et cetera. Mambo Sandy made something here called the Papa Tax, right? Right?
Yep.
So, yeah. So, um, so yeah, that was the way that it normally went. You bring things like that, you come, you show up, you do whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Don't come
But
don't come empty handed. Like when I come to see Papa, I either have like some cigarette or something for the house, something for, the kids, stuff like that. You don't just show up, because if it wasn't for the horses, you wouldn't be getting the messages.
yeah, a lot of people don't understand that, it's the horses that are getting you the messages, okay? It's the horses that are making sure to sacrifice up to get you the messages, do the work, et cetera, right? And
Somebody put a 6-pack for Papa.
I don't really drink like that. I don't really drink like that. But we'll figure something out. Yeah, it's the horses that are giving themselves up for the Misterio, the Loi, to come through and do the work for you, et cetera, et cetera. And that takes its toll on the horses or the spiritual workers that are doing the work. But those are old things that basically used to never be said. It was just things that you would do because that's
Yes.
the culture of how things are done, right?
That should be a class, Papa. That's a whole class in its own. It
Okay.
really is.
Yeah, it really is. And, when it comes to something else that I mentioned, somebody asked me, when it comes to like over here on our Facebook groups, etc., if you're not already in there, you can let us know. You also want to answer the questions, etc., because we got a lot of, how do you call that?
Spam
Requests.
request.
Yeah,
Okay.
lots of requests. And also in this world of ours, there be lots of fake people and their fake stuff. And we don't got time for all that nonsense. But we
No.
are going to be doing exclusives, some exclusive lives, giving you some good stuff. This is more of a public live that we got going on right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
some stuff that you can do with the misterios and things like that to get y'all gears going. And like I said, same. If you're in one of them groups, soon we're gonna be doing. I probably will put this one up on my YouTube because I have a lot of YouTube people who need that. It's a little alive for our spiritual workers about some things that y'all need to know. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay, y'all's gonna do it anyway. That's one thing. That's
Papa, don't start.
that, that's that's one thing my grandmother would say, right? You understand? Y'all is. I mean, it's gonna be what it is, right? So, if you have a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more information, at least help yourself a little bit, right? So we try to help where we can. So basically, those of you who are watching, those of you who will watch, depending on where y'all at within
Right.
y'all, basically y'all development of y'all thing, right? Of y'all spirituality. And the thing about it is, there's certain things, let me tell you, when you do spiritual work, and I'm just gonna like say these little things to kind of give you guys a little touch over there of things we're gonna be discussing. When you do spiritual work and you got people coming in person, and they're coming in person, and they got certain things on them. Okay, there's certain things you're gonna want to have or do to make sure those things don't stay in your house, don't stay with you, okay? But that person doesn't, basically have some other type of thing that happens wrong in your house or with that person, right? You're gonna have to have certain things that could tell you when to just turn that person away, okay? When it's just like, no, you're better off just not working for that person or dealing with that headache. Now, if you deal with people from a distance, there are certain things you can have to help you with working with them that way. And there are certain things that you should have if you're going to want to work with people in person. Okay? There's this spirit, I'm going to tell you, that, you know, if a person was more spiritually inclined, there was going to be more like this in the altar room I had at one place, right? And yeah, and that's going to tell you certain things. And it's going to also tell you certain things of how that person react if they got certain bad shit on them. Okay? There is puntos that you can put in your house, in your altar as a spiritual worker so that you get more clients, so that things heat up. But sometimes you got to understand what kind of clients you're going to get. Okay? There are puntos that you put in your house so that when people walk into your house, whatever they have that shouldn't be there in your house, it stays outside. And one thing that people don't understand is that in voodoo, I'll tell you a little secret, okay?
Uh-oh.
And a little story, a little, a little story and a secret, right? It's not always what you do see. A lot of times it's what you don't see. That's the secret. Sometimes there's ways that we can put spirit places, we can put puntos places and stuff. But there's no physical thing that you see there. Okay?
Yeah.
There's no physical thing. There's no physical object. Okay? Let me tell you something. If you haven't noticed this about me yet, Okay? I want you to take a little notice here. Papa never wears any type of special necklaces or anything like that. And when Papa wears jewelry, it's just jewelry. A lot of times, spiritual workers in our work, there's ways that we do things that we don't need no announcements on us. We don't want no announcements on us. Okay? And you won't even know that we walking right by you. Okay? And we don't have no collares, no electres, we don't have anything. Nothing. Okay?
Yeah.
And a lot of brujos and brujas that I know and that I grew up with, and even in the yard, they are like that. Whatever you see on them is for fashion. Okay? But you don't see nothing. That's not saying that we don't have certain fashion pieces that might not be mounted with spirits. That can be done too. But they just look like normal little things. And so there's certain things that can be placed certain places so that basically, their spirits place certain places. And let me tell you a little story, okay? Hi, hi there. So this happened many a time. I'll tell you two little stories, but I'll keep them short. One time I had a lady, she came in here, and she was from Dominican Republic, and her family served Misterios. And she was used to what a lot of people are used to. What a lot of people are used to. She was used to like an altar with a whole bunch of saints, okay, with a whole bunch of saints and different images and a whole bunch of candles, right? And a whole bunch of stuff like rosaries and, lamps and everything. Everything. Like pretty much a whole botanica. Okay. And she was a caballo de misterio. This lady, but she was uninitiated. Okay. She was a horse of the spirit. She would get possessed. She was uninitiated, but she was a servidora. So she would serve her misterios, etc. She had her little spades. Bueno, bueno. Good, good. Right? She couldn't understand where she met this dude. He was also a Dominican dude. He come from a different place, a different part, a different background in serving Misterio. And she met him, and she couldn't understand because when she went to his house, he served Misterios, but pretty much there's nothing anywhere. Okay? There's nothing anywhere. Okay? There's a little tiny table where obviously some candle burning goes on. Okay? A little bell. And he has some fulas. A little bell and some fulas. But all the fulas are just, da da da, and they're put in a dresser, like in his sock drawer. Okay? But he would do things spiritually that she couldn't even fathom or imagine. And she came to him to resolve some problems that she had been all over. Okay, ashe, ashe, right? That where she had been all over to fix. And this Hunga, okay, hi, this Hunga,
Hey.
he was like, I'm gonna fix it for you. And he just asked her for the names. He got the names from her, and he was like, I'll do the work for you. And that's it. He charged her the money, she paid the money. He's like, I don't do the work for you, etc. But then she wanted to go learn from the Hungan, etc. And he said basically, I don't teach what I know. Okay? But what I know, you're not gonna find it like that, like that. This is the way that we do things where I'm from. And basically it was like, you see, anywhere you go into a voodoo, oftentimes you're gonna see a big altar, a big thing. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful way. It's a beautiful tradition. Don't
Mhm.
don't take nothing from it. But that's not everywhere that it's served like that. Not everywhere is served the same. That's what people don't understand. Not everyone served the same. Not everybody served the Misterio the same. Different people have different way that they serve the Misterio depending on how the Misterio want them to serve.
Yep.
Okay? And he was like, but with me, I have my fula, I have my bell, okay? And I do the work in the night. Good job. I resolve. Right? And that was that. And so basically, he was like, you can't see it. But when you walk through this building, through this space, this house that I live in, there's misterios placed in different spots all over the house, okay,
Mhm.
for certain things. And I go into those different certain spots and I do my certain stuff, okay? And the misterio do what they gotta do, baby. And when that misterio mounts, especially when the misterio mounts, it doesn't need to do a lot.
Nope.
It can do a lot with a little. It can say to you the whole world in a sentence. Okay? Before I get into that next story, I'm going to tell you about that situation, about saying the world in a sentence. This happened at my temple where there was a mambo. She was a very good servant of the spirits, a very good servant of the spirits. And it was her time. It was her time. So basically, when she went to go talk to Anaisa, Anaisa was like, hey, boo boo, you know your hour's up. Any last wishes? Any last requests? And she said, basically, yes, I want you to take. She was a mambo, she was smart enough, and she was connected enough to with the spirit to immediately understand what that meant. And she spoke the whole world, right? She was like, basically, like, you know, your hour's up. Are your things in order? Any last requests? Okay, she told her the whole world right there in that, in those what, like 9 words? In
Yeah.
9 words.
Yeah, she did.
And she said, yes, take care of my children and my family and do this and this and this for me. Make sure everything works out all right and blah, blah, blah. And la madre, la vieja Naisa, she was like, that, you good. Like, we gonna got you taken care of. And that was that. And so these black can say to you the whole world and just like that. And many a time, I've seen these lois come and the loi will fix your whole world. Okay, just come for a little short minute and they just sign a piece of paper and say, give it to you and say, like, basically, you do this and that with it and that's it. And then they go.
Yeah, they did that to me, Papa.
Okay,
At,
and they, yep.
at
And
one of
they,
your ceremonies. It was a ceremony a long time ago, and Papa was horsed by Rob Day. and I was just starting to understand the forces of the Black division of Bound. And my head was, I felt like I was in between the worlds. Like everything just seemed weird. So I said to Brav, this is a lot for me right now. And all he did was take his cigarettes and just blew a puff of smoke. That was it. When I walked out of the ceremony the next day, I was good. Like I was able to function how I
Yep.
needed to function until I build up
The
to where I
strength to deal
can
with that.
be.
Exactly. Yep. Because that's how this laws work. These laws, they can do stuff like that. And so that's the first story about like basically, you know, these things, there's things that can get placed places and you don't see nothing there. Okay? You don't see nothing physically there. A ceremony can get done somewhere. You wasn't there when that ceremony was there. Was done there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But there's no trace of a ceremony left. Guess what? One of the most beautiful things that I ever find about voodoo, about Vodou, okay, is when you go to a ceremony, that can be like a thing, right? That like it could be a beautiful setup, all da 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 da. Sometimes a few hours later or by the next day, you would never know something went on there. It looked like a whole different place. Okay?
Yeah.
You've been transported to a whole different world in that
Mm-hmm.
ceremony. And when you came out, when that ceremony all got closed down and everything got wiped away, it's a whole different world. Okay? It's a whole different vibe, a whole different location. No longer the same. You would never know.
Yep.
Right? So there's that. Another story is that same thing in a different way. Well, my uncle used to work with an Indian spirit. And he used to work with this Indian spirit. When you would go into the little house that he had with the Indian, there was nothing in there. There was just some chairs in there. Chairs and a cha-cha and a rock where he lit candles. Other than that, there was nothing in there. And that's where he would do his thing and do his work. And he had lots of people always there. The place would always be packed up every week, the 2 days a week that he did his spirit work. Okay? And if a lot of people who go by their eyes,
Yep.
okay,
Hold on.
you might go in there and you'll be like, what? There's nothing here. Oh my God, ain't nothing here. Da da da. But in reality, the whole world is there. And I used to go to, when I lived in Haiti, around the corner from me, there was this guy, this Makaya priest. They had a little Makaya, uh, basically a temple. When you went in that temple room, there wasn't nothing in there. There was a few bottles on the ground. Again, the cha-cha, a few fulas, and some chairs. Okay? But that priest stayed busy. And when he went and he did his ceremony for his law, I went there. And that ceremony was 9 days for 24 hours a day.
Wow.
9 days for 24 hours a day. And that temple was very small. It was like a 10 by 10 space. Okay? The outside where people were there to dance. But he had so many people that shit was packed up, packed up, packed up. Okay? And because sometimes everybody worked different in these things. And also sometimes the way that you work will change and transform as you develop spiritually.
Yep.
Okay? And the more power you have and you develop, there's other things that you may or may not do anymore. Okay? But these Lua, they can do all kinds of things for you with just like that, a little signature, a little puff of smoke. Okay? And they can say to you the whole world in just a sentence like that. Okay?
Yes.
Saint Michael, he is a good one for that too. Is telling you the whole world in a sentence. A lot of them are very good at telling you a whole bunch of things
Yes.
in basically less than a dozen words. Okay?
Yep.
And like I said to y'all, I think we're gonna wrap up. You got anything left to say, Mama Sandy?
Only thing I have to say is that, you know, the spiritual journey is when you're really meant for this, it's gonna be some bumps and bruises. It's gonna be some bumps and bruises. That's why it's a journey. And even though, like Papa said earlier, you may go to the wrong spiritual house, but you're still gonna learn something. You're gonna either learn how not to do stuff or how to do stuff, and you may pick up little bits and pieces. Okay? So don't hold anger, because I did at one point. So Papa pointed out to me. He said, basically, you did learn things, okay? And it made me more appreciative once I got out, because who knows how I could have been if I hadn't gone through those things. So everybody's journey is different, but that's why it's called a spiritual journey and why you have to do spiritual work. And you go through the fire. They will test you. They're not gonna hand you stuff. They'll take things from you. Remember, Papa, my two dogs?
Yeah.
They see how you gonna act, how we like. Okay, well, how you gonna turn your back
Some
before they
people
start handing out things?
some people they lie won't even let them have certain hairstyles. Some people, their loi will not let them wear jewelry like that. And some people, those very same loi, but different people, would not want that person to leave the house without a piece of jewelry on them. They're going to want that person decked in jewelry. Same people. I
Yep.
mean, different people, same loi. Okay?
Yep.
Right? And so this thing is very individual.
Yes.
Okay? And we want to help guide you if you have loi, guide you in that. If you don't have loi, maybe you have something else. Then maybe we could send you somewhere else.
Right.
Okay? To something else. But there are certain spiritual truths. It doesn't matter what you got. They apply all the way across the board. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you got.
Yep.
You know? But you got, it's a process.
It is. It really is. But that's all I have to say.
Okay, well, the last few things, like, follow, share,
Yep.
right?
That's right. Follow, share.
Like, follow, share,
Papa's on
like, follow, share,
TikTok.
like, follow, share, right? Because we gotta remind y'all, like, follow, share, by the way. Okay? That's one. Two is we're gonna be doing October 2nd, San Miguel, Guardian Angels. Information in the description if you wanna make an offering via us. We're gonna have you in a. We're gonna serve on your behalf a lamp and a candle if you're involved in that with us. Um, if you would like to make a donation to the lives, Cash App, dollar symbol Hector Salva, help at mysticalwork.com is our email and our PayPal. And um, I mean, have a blessed week. I hope that this video has helped you a bit in understanding, say, Michael, who that is, etc., etc. Right? What time are we gonna be doing
The
San
same.
Miguel on the 2nd. On
Mhm.
the 2nd, we're going to be doing San Miguel at some point in the afternoon, and we'll have some stuff for y'all afterwards, depending on what San Miguel, his message is, etc. So that's going to be on October 2nd. Okay? But we're also going to be doing some videos in Sanse Espiritismo y la 21 División, I forget the name. The group tell you all the truth. And Mystic Mavericks. We're gonna be doing some exclusive stuff there for both San Miguel and spiritual workers, yada yada yada. And we're gonna go through that generally in next upcoming weeks. And many blessings to all of you today and always. Keep the faith, right? And what I've been telling everybody, because it's been a little theme here, is we have a little saying where I'm from, and it's called curarse en salud. A lot of people don't know how to do this. Just a little trick. Curarse en salud. What that means is heal yourself when you're healthy. That means don't stop watering the tree when the shit starts flowering. All right? It means that's when you take care of things. Make sure that you're doing preventatives. Make sure that when you're healthy and things are good, you're keeping things good and making things better and better. Right? It's something you're going to want to be upkeeping in these next couple months. I promise you that. So many blessings. Thank you, Mabo Sandy, for being here with us.
Thank you, Papa, for
Okay?
inviting.
And many blessings to all of y'all.